Hello, my Belfast Thousand Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. We are back. Yeah, it's a weird day, people. I don't know what to tell you on that one. We are back with another Lazy Masquerade. This one is titled 10 Disturbing Folklore Creatures from Around the World. Around the world in 80 days. I'm excited for this one. I love folklore. I love urban legends, and I know a lot of people out there are like it's all fake. It's all bullshit. Okay, even the most ridiculous sounding stories in the world originate from some sort of truth. I'm not saying things like wendigos, werewolves, abominable snow. I'm not saying for sure all this is real. I believe creatures exist that we've never seen before. I mean, there there's places on this earth that we know nothing about. Yeah, Google Pictures can take pictures of shit, but how do you know for sure? There's parts of the ocean that we just know nothing about. How are we supposed to know what's all down there too? So I'm not saying any of it's out of the realm of possibility, but everything originates from some sort of truth, and I love that. I love to see where it came from to where it became just this outlandish, weird fuckball story. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and get into the story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, come up with someone special. Let's get intrigued. I love this kind of shit.
I'll start off with a
Wendigos.
creature that
I.
most of you are familiar with, the Wendigo.
That's fucking creepy. I love Wendigos. I was reading a thing whenever I was younger. A lot of people believe that the myth of Wendigos and stuff, one form, one of the beliefs that where the thought and idea of a Wendigo came from was like the hair around it and the kind of skull like face and the horns was people was seeing moose for the first time that had never seen them before, and it scared the living shit out, like hence the hair and the really largeness of them. Because if none of you have ever seen like a bull moose or anything, they have like the kind of lighter hair around the face, and then the snout gets darker, and their face in the right light does kind of look like a skull, which is quite creepy. And then the horns, great big and huge. And some people believe that that's where the original thought of Wendigos came from, was people seeing bull moose for the very first time and didn't know what the fuck it was and was scared shitless about it. See, see, it's all kinds of little things. Like maybe that's true, maybe it's not. I don't know. Hell, I really don't fucking know. But it's cool as shit, and that's creepy as hell.
If you've been watching videos on this channel for a while, you may have heard me narrate a few stories about them. They're an Algonquian legendary creature said to still inhabit parts of Canada and the USA. In
See, parts of Canada and probably the northern parts of the United States, where you would see bull moose. You don't see them a whole lot of other places down towards the south. I mean, I'm sure you probably do, can, will, and should. I don't know. I don't know where all moose travel. I'm not a moose travel guide. But, see, the northern part of America, Canada, that's all places where you definitely see bull moose.
recent years, they've penetrated the mainstream consciousness, thanks to shows like Supernatural and games like Until Dawn.
That's an amazing game. Until Dawn. If you ain't played it, go play it. It's cool.
A Wendigo is a former human who, at one point in their life, became a cannibal. It doesn't matter if they ate human flesh out of desperation or for pleasure. They become consumed by an intense desire to eat more and more, developing an insatiable appetite for human meat.
That's fucking
One
creepy.
Ojibwe teacher and scholar gave this description of the creature. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out against its skin, its complexion the ash grey of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into their sockets, the Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody. The Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odour of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. As you can tell, they're basically stuck.
I don't know what corruption smells like, but I imagine it smells like booty. That's freaking creepy. I don't think that's a Wendigo. It's like a cryptic of sorts. That's still pretty fucking creepy. Look, I mean, it's got boils on its face. Urgh. I love this kind of stuff. I really do. I'm cheesing. I am. I love it.
Starving feral creatures, desperate to sate their hunger. No matter how much human flesh they eat, they're never satisfied. They always crave for more. That's why they're always described as having no lips. They can never resist eating them. It seems likely that the Wendigo legend started to circulate as a way of dissuading people from killing and eating their fellow tribespeople, especially during a food shortage. After all, Wendigos are traditionally associated with winter months. In the past, this was when food was at its most scarce.
So, people would mainly start talking about it like during those harsh winter months when you could barely like survive because there's no food. So people would just start resorting to eating other people. Oh, baby. What you got cooking? Stew. What kind of stew? Bob stew. Bob smells pretty damn good today.
And when famines were most likely to occur. Nowadays, many natives see them as a symbol of greed and the corruptibility of the human soul. There's a little-known folktale that has circulated around Dartmoor in England for hundreds of years. I'd never even heard of it until I read a post by Reddit user This Reasonable Guy. What he described was the legend of the curry.
Alright. It says, we have a creature called a curry. It is known to wait near graves of people who have died on the moor. If you walk past one of these graves, it will latch onto you. What the fuck?
It's said to wait near the graves of those who have died on the moor, waiting for an unsuspecting victim to pass by.
What does moor mean? I don't know. I'm not from England. Is it like, just land? Right? It is, right? Like fields and shit. The moor. You need to go to the moor.
If you wander too close, it will latch onto you and make your life a living hell.
Why?
It has no visible form, so you won't even realize that the curry has attached itself to you. Over the course of weeks.
No, I've had curry before. It latched onto me. I had the demon trots for a minute.
Months, or even years, the curry slowly convinces you of its existence. A faint whisper in your ear, appearances in your dreams, a cold touch on the back of your neck. As time passes, it becomes more aggressive, clawing at you as you sleep, projecting its own face onto your family members as you talk to them, attacking you in your nightmares. Nobody else can see or hear the curry, making you question your own sanity.
Fuck that.
Then it makes you a promise. If you return to the moor, it will leave you be. It'll say that it's finished toying with you, and now all it wants to do is return home. By this point, you're mentally exhausted.
See, I'd be like, nah, bruh. You done playing me? Call me Choo Choo Charles, bro, because we better get fucked up in this thing. You is not going to torment me for years. And then be like, all right, the toy is old. I want a new one. Well, no, fool. My turn to play. I'm going to make your life a living hell. Believe that.
And desperate, you inevitably give in and return to the moorland.
No.
As you wander aimlessly around Dartmoor, it will continually whisper words of encouragement in your ear, promising that you're almost there, you're almost free. Eventually, exhaustion will overcome you, and you'll collapse to the ground and succumb to the elements. As you lay there, dying and unable to move, the curry tells you how much it will enjoy dragging your soul to hell. And like that, another grave is created.
That thing's an asshole.
La Llorona, the weeping woman of Latin America. Originating in Mexico, the story of La Llorona is as tragic as it is chilling.
I don't know if that's the way it's pronounced, the way he's saying it, but I love the way he's saying it. That's sexy. La Llorona. Wait, the two L's does make a Y sound on it. I've been saying it wrong for years. I've been saying La Llorona. It's not La Llorona. It's La Llorona. Llorona.
Is the ghost of a once beautiful woman named Maria.
Ooh.
In life,
She
she
is pretty.
drowned her own children in a river after finding out that her husband was cheating on her. In her blind rage, she saw murdering their children as the ultimate revenge. When she came to her senses and realized what she had just done,
I mean, she couldn't just like sleep with a stable boy or something. I imagine that pissed him off. Pretty good, you know. Kids would still been alive. She would have got her a little bit of wham bam. Everybody would have walked away happy except for the stable boy and the old man. I don't know. I'm just saying.
she could no longer live with herself. She drowned herself in the same body of water. Now, trapped somewhere between life and death, Maria's ghost walks the earth, searching in vain for the souls of her lost children. It's said that at night, she kidnaps wandering kids, believing them to be her own. She then begs for their forgiveness and drowns them. It's for that reason that you're most likely to find her near lakes or rivers.
But here's my question. She begs for the kids to forgive her. She wants to be forgiven so bad. Why does she drown them again? Please forgive me. I forgive you, Gabriel Mama. Good. Die. You will succumb to the watery pits of hell, you son of a bitch. Why? Like, that makes no sense to me. You felt so bad that you killed yourself. Now you're going around kidnapping kids, begging for their forgiveness just to drown them little sons of bitches. Man, that's fucked up. That lady got issues.
Weeping to herself.
That's fucking creepy.
According to legend, anyone who hears her crying is doomed to live a shorter life. And those who listen for too long are marked for death. For generations, the story of
So, if you want to fight La Llorona, you stab yourself in the ear so you can't hear that motherfucker. And you just walk up and you just pop her right in the face. And bam! Yeah. You heard it here first. I know how to cure the curse of La Llorona.
La Llorona has been an effective tool for keeping children from wandering out at night. There's hardly anyone in the whole of Latin America who didn't grow up hearing this story. With any luck, they won't have heard her cries.
Sadako? Japan. Oh man, you know Japan's got some fucked up shit, bro. Good lordy.
Japan has more than its
But they got such an ancient culture. Like, some of their like deities look demonic as all get out. Like they're scary looking, but yet you know they're very regal and very beautiful. That's not what I'm saying. But like, so you know they got some fucked up stuff, bro.
fair share of creepy myths and urban legends, And in all honesty, I think I could have easily filled this list with Japanese entries alone. Perhaps
See?
the best known examples are the split-mouthed woman, Kuchisake Onna, and the malevolent torso known as Teke Teke. Then,
I don't
of
like none of
course,
those.
there's Sadako, or as you might know her, Samara, the ghost of a young girl who will kill you in 7 days if you
Grudge.
happen to watch a particular haunted videotape. That was the plot of a popular Japanese movie called Ringu, which eventually got its own Hollywood remake in the form of The Ring. What a lot of
That was a pretty fucking good movie, though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I liked it. I liked The Grudge. And there was another one. I forget. Like, there's several rings, though. Like, I've watched fucking all of them. I love the Grudge movies, too. Like, hand coming out of the back of the head. That was fucking...
Western audiences don't know, however, is that the plot is actually based on a Japanese folk legend that sprang up in the 80s, and which also inspired a horror novel in 1991.
Really?
The legend itself is pretty similar
Like, is the horror novel in English where I can read it? Because I don't want to learn a whole other language just to read a book. But that sounds really... I love to read. I love books. I do.
to the movie. However, in the Japanese folk story, there's a number that you can call that will put you in direct contact with Sadako without even watching the VHS. First, enter your country's exit code. Next, dial 81, the Japanese dialing code. Once you've done all of that, Sadako's number is as follows: 090 4444 4444. She won't speak to you. She won't tell you that you have 7 days left to live like in the film. Instead, you'll hear her making an extremely unsettling and unnatural high-pitched sound. According to those who have called the number, the sound is so disturbing that you'll want to hang up immediately. They've also reported feeling extremely uneasy in the days following the call, with some saying that they can sense an unwanted presence in their house. Within
Why the fuck would you want to call this motherfucker? Man, I'd hate to be a telemarketer and call her by mistake. Be saying, "Hello, ma'am. Would you like to learn about Jesus today?" All you had to do was say no, ma'am. Bye-bye. I don't know what that was. I told you, it's been a weird day. I feel there's something going on. I think it's the coffee. I finally, subscriber, Debbie, sent me some whole bean coffee. Went out and got a coffee bean grinder, and I have been drinking it like it's water. It's so good. It's so good. I went out and got a whole new set of creamers. I got this white chocolate mocha shit, which is what I'm drinking right now. Blew my mind, melted my soul. It's amazing.
a week of calling Sadako, something extremely traumatizing will happen to you. That doesn't necessarily
Does your eye do that? Because that's fucking traumatizing. Oh, I just looked. Oh God, it's on. I have an eye thing, people. I can't look at either one of these screens. I have an eye thing. Like, I have a hard time walking through stores that have the pegs that stick out of the wall that you walk by. I don't know. I have an eye thing. That's creeping me the fuck out. I'm pushing play while not looking.
mean you'll die. Her wrath could take on the form of a tragedy or a life-altering event.
Tell me when it's gone, people.
Needless to say, nothing good can come from
How you
calling
doing?
her. God knows I'm not going to.
Oh, thank God. I kind of want to call. Hello, ma'am. Have you heard about our Lord and Savior today? Oh, God. If I do it and then in like a week y'all don't see no more videos, Sunflowers.
Fans of Stephen King might be familiar with the name of these ones. Knockers, or
And if I'm not mistaken, they're like these little, almost like dwarves or gnomes or whatever. I don't know the proper terminology. I'm sorry, but it's a little thing that is in like caves and mines and stuff like that. They're supposed to like, pretty sure, like give you like heart attacks. They're supposed to be able to kill you, like no lie. And they can create like cave-ins and mines and shit. Tommy Knocker, Tommy Knocker.
Tommyknockers, as they're known in the US, were believed to be malevolent, dangerous beings that lived in mines and caves. In England, they were thought to be little elf-like creatures, whereas in America, they were believed to be more ghostly. Whatever the case.
See, I always heard the one where they're more like you said, the elf type. I live in America. I mean, I don't know. It could be either or. I really don't give a damn. But I don't want to go into no mine because of them.
They were widely considered to be real by both British and American miners well into the 20th century. The Tommyknockers got their name from the distinctive knocking sound that echoed through mines just before a cave-in. Many miners thought that the knocking sound was the creatures hammering at the support beams, trying to kill the workers inside the mine. Others, who had a more positive view of the Tommyknockers, believed that these knocks were actually their attempts to warn the miners of an imminent cave-in. Either way.
Which do you think is real, though? You think they was trying to kill those poor fuckers, or you think they was trying to save them? I mean, if they live in mines and caves, I'm pretty sure they don't like people coming in there and just be like, I'm going to put a big old tunnel through here. That's my home, fool. You're gonna die.
This knocking sound was the most terrifying thing any miner could ever hear, and one they all dreaded, particularly those who were deepest in the mine. After the first few knocks, those inside the mine would scramble for the exit, praying that the support beams would hold out long enough for them to make an escape.
But I mean, honestly, the knocking could just be like the boards getting ready to give way. Like boards when they're about ready to break underneath immense amount of pressure, they'll make like a loud, almost knocking sound, like before they snap. I've heard it.
Of course, not everyone would make it out when the cave collapsed, and those lucky enough to survive would tell of the Tommyknockers. In reality, this sound was most likely the creaking of earth and timbers as they gave way to pressure. Be that as it may, these folklore creatures were considered the bane of many a miner's life, and a real concern for them and their families. Even as late as 1956, a group of miners refused to continue working on one particular shaft until the mine owners agreed to have all of the Tommyknockers inside removed. The owners agreed to their terms. Obviously, Tommyknockers are no longer a concern for modern-day miners. That's not the case for people who like caving, though. Some spelunkers still believe in the creatures. You see, when you go caving, you might occasionally hear a knocking sound coming from deep inside the twisting paths and chambers of the cave. Some people, particularly those who are a bit lost, feel compelled to follow these knocks. Oftentimes, the knocking only leads them deeper into the...
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, those people are fucking stupid. If I am in a deep, dark, windy ass cave and I hear knocking coming from the other end, guess which direction I'm going? Not the direction of the knocking. That ain't fucking happening. I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn. It ain't happening. Nope. It's gonna be like, I'm going that way. Deuces.
the cave, or to an area where the person gets stuck, never to resurface.
See?
Whether these knocks are natural occurrences, or something more sinister, is for each individual caver to decide. Just another reason to stay away from caves altogether, really.
I agree. I agree with him 100% wholeheartedly. Nope, not fucking doing it.
Strigoy, mort, literally dead witch. They've been a hallmark of Romanian folklore since the 1600s, and were the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula. Indeed, the best way to think about these creatures is as the first incarnation of the modern vampire. They're the reanimated corpses of the dead who drain the living of their blood. They're also said to have the ability to shapeshift into a number of creatures in order to
It's like what? Wolves, bats, snakes and stuff? Spiders? Like anything you would consider back in that day as like dark or evil. My earbud is making my ear really itchy right there. I don't know why.
mask their identity. There are a handful of ways that a person might become a Strigoy when they die. Firstly, the seventh child of the same sex in a family is doomed to become a Strigoy, as is any baby born with a cowl atop its head. Those who lead a sinful life are also more at risk of becoming one. On top of that, anyone who dies unmarried, by suicide, by execution for perjury, or after being cursed, will most likely come back to walk the earth as well.
So what happens if you're all of them at one time? Come back as like the ultimate vampire? Dracula 2022.
Now, this might not sound like such a bad deal to some of you. After all, who wants to stay dead? But the Strigoy aren't like what they were in life. They're both human and demonic. Once they reanimate, they feel compelled to return to their families and act just like they did in life. The Strigoy's very presence weakens their family members, and as time passes, they die one by one. In order to continue existing, the Strigoy is then forced to steal the vitality of others, killing them in the process. The bite of a Strigoy is always fatal, and, unlike some modern vampire stories, can't turn the victim into a Strigoy themselves. It's for this reason that many Romanian people were buried with a stake through their heart, and their coffins nailed tightly shut. The last thing a family wanted was for their dead relative to come back and kill them.
Uncle John! Bruh. Like, no, that's not how we say hello in this family.
Despite becoming widely popular in modern fiction, and a staple mark of the horror genre, many Romanians still believe in the existence of the Strigoy. In 2004, a Strigoy hunting party was formed after a woman claimed to have been visited by her recently deceased uncle. The group dug up the old man's corpse, tore out his heart, and burned the body to ash. The ashes were then mixed with water and drunk by the group members. In order to present a modern image of their country to the world,
You had me. You had me. Like, I'm getting you. I got you. Like, I'm feeling what you're spitting. You know what I mean? Rip out the heart, burn that bitch, burn the body, all that good shit. I got you. 100%. Boom. Uh-huh. Why the fuck you want to drink those ashes, though, bud? Ashes is grody. Yes,
the Romanian government sentenced the members of the group to serve 6 months in prison. Despite this, many people in the Marătinu de Sus area still drive a fire-hardened stake through the chests of dead relatives. In a slightly older case, though still modern in the grand scheme of things, an old man's body was exhumed in 1969 in the Romanian city of Capătăneni. After the old man had died, several of his family members also began to die under mysterious circumstances. It was believed that he was a Strigoy. When he was dug up, the man's body showed no signs of decomposition. His eyes were wide open, and his face was twisted and red. The corpse was burned in order to save the old man's soul.
That's crazy.
Hailing from Celtic folklore, the Kelpie is an aquatic horse that is said to haunt the rivers and lakes of Scotland and Ireland. There's also a pretty much identical creature in Icelandic legend called the Nikor. They're said to be beautiful black horses that stand near large bodies of water. If you ever see such a creature by a river or lake, be sure to keep your distance. Those who touch or mount the horse become stuck to it, completely unable to free themselves. Then, the Kelpie will slowly walk into the water, drowning whoever is glued to her. Pretty much every loch in Scotland has its own Kelpie story. Perhaps the most popular tale is that of a group of young boys who encounter a horse at the water's edge in Perthshire. All of the youngsters clamber onto the horse's back, all except for one, that is, who stays on land and pets the horse's neck. He soon realizes that his hand has become stuck to the horse. The boy looks down and notices that the horse's hooves are backwards, the mark of the Kelpie. As the creature begins to walk into the loch, the boy is forced to cut off his own fingers in order to free himself. His friends, who have no way to cut themselves free, are carried into the water.
I'm sitting on it. I ain't cutting shit. I'm just taking my damn pants off. I win, Kelpie. I see, I'd be dead though, because I'd be like, oh, you pretty thing. I'd rub my face on it, face be stuck to it. I would end up becoming one with the Kelpie. Like, if I'm going down, I'm taking it with me. I don't give a shit. We go together, Kelpie.
Some of their entrails are found later, their bodies presumably devoured by the Kelpie. Though not a direct encounter, here's another story shared by Reddit user Mutan.
It eats people?
I was 7 to 8 years old, visiting my grandparents in the countryside. According to my grandmother, she woke up in the middle of the night to her cow's abnormal mooing. She went outside to check and saw me walking into the fish pond. I didn't wake up after entering the water. She barely pulled me out of the water before I fell into the deep part of the pond. I was shaking uncontrollably. She had to carry me inside. It took half an hour to wake me up. When she asked what happened, I apparently half-consciously answered, I was following the pony. The origins of the Kelpie aren't exactly known for sure, but there's one prevailing theory. Horses are dangerous animals.
So, they can... I imagine the kid was asleep. So can they come to your dreams and guide you to water that way too? Because if that's the case, then we're all fucked. I ain't even got to touch the damn thing and it's going to drown me. That pisses me off.
They kill more people each year than you probably realize. People fall off them and break their necks all the time, and their kicks are easily strong enough to rupture your insides. On top of that, messing around with a nobleman's horse back in the day could have landed you in some pretty hot water. This legend might have started as a cautionary tale which parents told their children, the moral being, never touch a horse you don't know.
But horses are so pretty. Love horses. You give me a horsey and I ride it and be like, wee! Then it drowns me and be like, no! I'd be very angry.
Ironically, the story of the Kelpie probably saved quite a few of our ancestors from dying young. Who knows? Maybe you owe your very existence to the Kelpie folktale.
Thank you, Kelpie.
As a little bonus, I've left a link to a small but nicely drawn comic about the Kelpie. It's down in the description.
I'm gonna have to go check that out.
If you
Night
find yourself
marchers.
relaxing on a Hawaiian
Night marchers, right?
beach at night, be wary of the sound of distant drums and footsteps.
Cannibals!
It's said that on certain
Cannibals!
sacred nights, the Huaka Ipo, or night marchers, patrol the coastline. They're the spirits of ancient Hawaiian warriors, still carrying out their martial duties in the afterlife. They most often appear just after sunset or right before dawn, and are known to kill anyone that witnesses their march.
Why?
If their torches are in view, then it's already too late to run. Your best chance of survival is to play dead. Avoid making eye contact at all costs.
Bury yourself in the sand. Fuck that shit.
They'll notice your stares and butcher you. Some say that placing your face into the sand or dirt is your best chance of appeasing
Like an ostrich?
them, as they view this as a mark of respect.
See, I was right, bro, and I was just being a dum-dum. I'm gonna live through everything. That's amazing.
If one of your ancestors marches in their ranks, then they'll spare your life. So, if Hawaiian blood runs through your veins, you may be one of the chosen few who can watch the marchers as they pass by.
You know, they start throwing candy at you and all kinds of great stuff. It's like, yeah, parade!
Then again, are you really willing to take that risk?
No.
In Norwegian folklore, Draugen are the ghosts of sailors who perished at sea. They continue to sail the waters on the splintered remains of their ships, appearing on stormy nights to drag down the boat.
That is a creepy looking freaking face, bro. Oh, look, it's a bird. It's a bird and a Goonie monster.
Of the living. Anyone foolish enough to set sail at night risks hearing their distinctive wailing and screaming, the calling card of the Draugen. Then, after making all this noise, it appears. A contorted, fish-like face, soulless black eyes, a gaping mouth, monstrous in size. As quickly as it manifests, it drags down the sailor's ship below the waves, all the way down to the bottom of the ocean.
So kind of like a siren?
All the crew drown, and their unfortunate souls are doomed to resurface as Draugen, cursed to drift across the ocean forevermore, searching for fresh victims of their own.
Fuck that.
In one particular folk story, a Norwegian sailor tries to escape this fate when he encounters a Draugen on a nightmare voyage. The man knew that the only way to survive an encounter with a Draugen was to make it to shore before it could reach you. The man does indeed make it back to dry land, but the Draugen continues to pursue him anyway. In desperation, the man sprints to a nearby churchyard and begs the spirits of the dead to protect him. In the morning, there's no trace of him left, but all of the graves are completely empty and covered in seaweed. Perhaps this story started circulating after a mass grave robbery took place. It's hard to say. Whatever the case, these demonic mermen are certainly enough to keep.
How's it gonna drown you on land? What happened to all the bodies? Dr. Frankenstein was making his monster.
Keep me on dry land for a good long while.
Fuck yeah, fuck that shit. I ain't dealing with that.
People who have followed this channel for a while now probably saw this one coming. Much like
Love Skinwalkers. Now, if I'm not mistaken, like, they are tortured souls and all that good stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, like, dark witches that dabble in, like, black magic and shit can summon them, and they can take form of people, like, they can shapeshift. They can mimic, like, the sound of their last victim to try to draw people near them and stuff. I love Skinwalkers.
like Wendigos,
I want to pet one.
I've covered Skinwalkers a fair amount in previous story narrations. They're pretty popular, and for good reason. These creatures are the stuff of nightmares. A large proportion of Navajo people firmly believe in Skinwalkers, and are cautious when it comes to talking about them. It's said that even discussing the creatures attracts their attention.
Why the fuck are we talking about them, bud? Everybody, put your fingers in your ears.
If that's true, it's a bloody good thing that I don't live in America. Skinwalkers are a type of Native American
Dick.
witch. More specifically, a shaman or witch doctor that murdered somebody close to them during their lifetime. They often appear as animals, though distorted and tattered replicas. It's best not to think of this as shape-shifting. It's more that they're inhabiting the skin of the creatures they've killed. The more experienced the Skinwalker is, the more likely
That is freaking disgusting looking, but amazing at the same time.
Likely they're to appear in a convincing form.
So cool.
It's not impossible for them to take on the skin of a human either.
Oh,
It's rare for a Skinwalker to kill without a motive, and generally they try to keep to themselves.
good.
When they do wish to take a life, however, they tend to isolate their prey.
Fuck that.
They can go about
Now, if you're killing me, you killing a lot of people. I'm taking people with me. No.
doing this in a number of different ways. One of their deadliest tricks is to call out to you in a familiar voice, luring you towards them.
Fuck that.
Their vocabulary is often limited, however, and some even say that they can only repeat the last phrase that their previous victims screamed before they died. As such,
It kills me. The next person all he hears is, "Fuck you, bro!"
one of the most common lures is to shout things like, "Help me." A well-meaning bystander might run deep into the woods to see if anyone needs help, only to be met with a Skinwalker. They aren't invincible, however, and as such, they're unlikely to attack groups of people.
Pussies.
Should a Skinwalker believe the odds are against them in any situation, they'll likely flee. If you
Pussy.
ever spook a dog or a deer or coyote and see it stand up on its back two legs and run away, you'll know what just crossed your path. I won't go into any more detail about them here, since I've covered them so much in the past, but I just couldn't leave them off this list.
Right?
If you'd like to hear more about them, I'd recommend checking out the Benny story that I narrated a while back. I'll leave a link to it down below.
Benny. Benny and the Jets.
So, there you have it. 9 of...
All right. I like that. That was nice. That was fun. That was interesting, entertaining. I love stuff like that. All right. If y'all enjoyed today's video as much as I did, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, big old puppy dogs that you're not supposed to pet, big old horses that you're not supposed to pet, but you know you're going to do it anyways, think about subscribing. We'll pet them together. I'm down if you're down. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Yeah, horsey, horsey, horsey. That's all you'll hear.